Oh, hello there. Hi, everybody. This is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I hope you are feeling good today because I'm with you once more. Yes, we have made it all the way to Friday. The weekend is just around the corner. Not that it means much these days because every day feels like the weekend. Every day feels like Saturday or Sunday. So here we are on Friday. I hope you are feeling super duper. Once more, I am in the garden. I'm feeling very lucky at the moment. I can't begin to tell you how lucky I feel. Standing here in the garden, surrounded by all of the birds. I have the pheasant behind me. I have pigeons calling. I have birds tweeting above my head. And up at the top this morning, I could actually hear a partridge as well. So there was a partridge calling, and their call is very strange. Have you ever heard a partridge calling? It is a very strange sound. It is a little bit like... So that is the sound that a partridge makes. You would imagine that it would be a lovely sound. You would imagine that it would be a nice, pleasant, melodic sound. However, it isn't. It sounds like someone banging in a piece of wood, banging something into the ground. But that is the sound that a partridge makes. It isn't very pleasant when you think about it. Hello to everyone on the live chat. Hello to everyone on the live stream. Nice to see you all here once again. Yes, I am with you every day. You may have noticed that I have been appearing on your screens quite a lot recently. In fact, every day during April, I've been here with you on the live chat. Talking of which, oh yes, we have the live chat. Can I say a big hello to Vitas, Konstantin, Adrian, also Noemi and Zuzika. Can I say hello to Mika and also Connell? Welcome to the live chat. You are the first ones on my list. And it's great to see you here again. It's lovely to have your company. I have noticed over the past couple of days, because everything is slowly turning back to normal, so in some countries, things are gradually, slowly going back to normal. And because of that, I've noticed that in certain parts of the world, the viewers for this has slowly gone down, because many people are now returning to their normal lives. However, I will be here every day, whatever happens, even if there is only 2 people. Even if there are just 2 people watching, I promise I will carry on until the end of April at least. Meanwhile, here in the UK, we are continuing with our lockdown for another 2 weeks. So we have another 2 weeks of this. And for some people, they have had enough. They can't take any more. People this morning, I noticed on Twitter, were complaining that they are feeling bored. I can't understand. There must be something you can find to do. Maybe you can read a good book. Maybe you can learn some new information. Find out something new that you didn't know before. So there are many things you can do. I think so anyway. Hello to the live chat. It's nice to see you here today. Thank you very much to Ivan. Also, Alisa is here as well. Beatrice is also here. Luis Mendez is watching in France. Hello to you as well. Thank you also, Monte. Monte, good afternoon, Mr. Duncan. It is so good to see you again. Today it is also sunny in Venice, Italy, too. Yes, I hope so. I hope you are having some sunshine. Maybe you can stand by the window and get some of that beautiful, lovely, warm sunshine. Perhaps you can stand in the window and perhaps the sunlight will make you feel more cheerful. And that's all I'm saying about that. I know over the past 12 or 15 hours, I know during the past few hours, people have been talking about a certain topic, a certain thing that someone has said in the world, but I'm not going to mention it. I promise I won't mention it at all. Kaylin says here, every day is worse. I'm sorry to hear that. I know that there are many countries that are still struggling and still having to deal with this particular situation. So yes, you know what I'm talking about. Of course, I'm talking about... Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Antonio. Hello, Antonio, watching in Madrid. Nice to see you. And a big hello to Spain. Mosen is here. Also, Morella. Hello, Morella. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for yesterday's expressions. I really like come what may. We were talking about William Shakespeare yesterday because it was the anniversary of his birth, we think, maybe, but definitely it was the anniversary of his death yesterday. So we were talking all about William Shakespeare. So I hope you enjoyed that, and also many of the things that people use nowadays, many phrases that we use nowadays, definitely. Palmyra says, for us, normal has returned, but unfortunately, people are still dying. This is one of the big problems at the moment. There are many people who now want to have their normal lives returned to them. However, there are other people who are very cautious, and some people believe that we should be cautious. Some people want things to change and return to how they were before. So there is a lot of debate taking place at the moment around the world as to how we should cope with this situation. For many people, this has been going on for quite a few weeks. Here in the UK, this is now our 5th week. So 5 weeks this has been going on for. 5 weeks. Francesca says, your voice sounds better. Your voice has turned better. We don't normally say turned better. You might say it has become better, or it sounds better. So it would appear, Mr. Duncan, that your voice has got better, or maybe it has become a little better, or it has improved. It has slightly. However, I am still suffering from my hay fever. I was sneezing quite a lot this morning. I was sneezing all morning. Hello, I'm very happy to be with you, says Valentina. Hello to you as well. Every day during the next few live streams, I am going to show you a very simple thing, something that you see every day, but perhaps you don't know what it is called. So today I'm going to show you this particular item. Can you see it on your screens? There it is. There it is. Can you see it? It is a very common item. It is something that you see quite often. Quite often it is something that you wear on your clothing. It is something useful. I have quite a few of these in my studio. I often find these are very useful for hanging and also securing things in my studio, especially things that are hanging. So this particular thing is called a belt clip. Belt clip. Belt clip. And this is something that you normally put on your trousers. So quite often, if you have a belt around your waist, you will also have things that the belt will go through. You will have loops on your trousers. So this is something you can actually attach like this. Very useful. So this is called a belt clip. There are many different types of belt clip. This particular one is made of plastic. It is very lightweight. However, you can also get metal belt clips. They are made of metal, steel. Sometimes they are made of plastic, like this one, and sometimes they are made of steel. However, it is a very simple thing, but it is also a very useful thing as well. So you might see this around quite often. Maybe at work. Maybe you have to take care of many offices. So you have lots of keys. And normally you will hang them on one of these. And then you will attach this to your trousers. And there you can see something called a belt clip. A very useful thing. Even for me, in my studio, I find that this particular thing can be used in many different ways. Many different ways indeed. So now you know. Belt clip. Thank you, Mr. Duncan. We didn't know that. It is amazing how many things that exist that you might actually not know the name of. Maybe very simple things or common things. So tomorrow I will show you another very simple thing, a very common item, and tell you what it is called. Hello, Kari. Buenos dias from España. Hello to you as well. Hello, Andy. Andy Starr is here. Oh, by the way, I have something very special to say. Something very special to do right now. Excuse me. Can I say a big special thank you? Thank you very much to Corinne Jean, and also Dirk Borman. Thank you very much for your lovely, kind donations that I received. I received a beautiful donation last night from Corinne, and also I received one just before I started today's live stream. So can I say a big thank you once again to Corinne Jean and also Dirk Borman. Thank you very much for your lovely donations. And there also you can see on the screen, you can see the address for the donations. If you want to send a small donation or a large donation, you are more than welcome to do so. And that will help my work continue forever and ever. Thank you very much. Corinne in France and Dirk, who I believe is in Germany. So thank you very much for your kind donations. Thank you very much. And there is the address also for your donations as well. Don't forget, I do all of this for free. I am with you every day during these very strange times. I do like my voice. I like my voice at the moment. My voice sounds very deep and husky. Husky. Anyway, I'm going to take my sunglasses off now because I think it's a little bit rude. Do you think so? Do you think wearing sunglasses when you are talking to someone is a little bit rude? And maybe it is bad manners to do that. So I am going to take my glasses off. My sunglasses. Boing! Oh, that's better. I can see you properly now. You have to see someone's eyes. If you are talking to someone, quite often we will feel reassured, we will feel more comfortable if we can see their eyes. Isn't that strange? So when you are talking to someone, quite often you want to see their eyes, because the eyes can give quite a lot away when you are talking to someone. Your eyes can reveal many things. I think so. So my sunglasses have now been removed and we can talk to each other about lots of things today. We are talking about many things. We will be talking about words that allow you to express being able to do something, and of course the opposite, things that you can't do. This is something I briefly talked about the other day. So there are many things people can do and many things people cannot do. Today we're going to look at words and phrases connected to that. Also, because it is Friday, it is a very strange Friday. Some might say that it is Freaky Friday. So today we are going to look at some very strange English words again. Yeah! So we are going to look at some odd words, strange English words. And maybe some of them you've never heard before. So some of them might be words that you've never heard before. All of that coming up later on. Hello, Quayet or Quaye Nguyen. Hello to you watching in Vietnam. Hi Vietnam. I know I have a lot of people watching all around the world. Do you know why? Do you know why there are so many people watching around the world? I will tell you. No. Because the world of English is a fun and exciting place to be. And I'm so glad you could join me for another live stream. We have people watching all around the world. We have people watching in South America. We have people watching in Asia. Also, we have people watching in Australia, all the way down under in Australia. We have people watching right across the world, including Africa as well, and Europe. Many people watching across Europe as well. People all over the world are watching. So a big hello to you wherever you are watching at the moment. I hope you are feeling good. And I know at the moment most of this has been affected by one particular thing. I can say safely now that I will be with you every day until this comes to an end. So hello to the world. I hope you are feeling good. The live chat is now very busy. Thank you very much. Mr. Duncan, I like your sunglasses, the style and also the colour. Well, I've taken them off now because I think if you are watching someone talking, if you are watching a person who is speaking, quite often you also want to see their eyes. So you are not just interested in what they say, you are also interested to see the expressions on their faces. Hello also Irene. Hello also Marina. Yes, it was a very interesting topic yesterday about Shakespeare's life and also the poems. Thank you very much. He was a very talented person, maybe a person who back then may have been misunderstood. Or maybe he had to try and make people understand why he was doing what he was doing. Quite often when we try something new, especially if someone comes along and they say, I have this great new idea, or I have this new way of doing things, quite often people will resist. They will not accept the new ideas. This has happened many times, especially in the area of science. So many scientists in the past found it very difficult to express their ideas and their theories. In the past, it was very hard to do it. So I would say that William Shakespeare was someone who changed not only the way people communicated, but also the way people lived generally. In fact, during that time, I suppose it would be fair to say that there was a renaissance taking place. There was a return to certain ways of doing things. There were also new starts, fresh starts. The way in which people expressed themselves. More people were able to read. So there was more interest suddenly in the English language. So people would often go to see William Shakespeare's plays. They would watch them. They would become interested in what happened on the stage. And at the same time, I think it would also have encouraged people to become interested in what was then early Middle English. So William Shakespeare has been credited for creating modern English, Middle English, and quite a lot of the words and phrases that we use nowadays. It's incredible, really. Even though he lived over 400 years ago. Incredible. So, a very interesting topic. I'm sure next year, when the anniversary comes round again, I'm sure we will all be talking about William Shakespeare once more. Hello to Florence. Hello, Flower, Espoir. Nice to see you here as well today. We are talking about what many people consider the most important meal of the day, breakfast. We are talking about breakfast. What kind of breakfast do you normally have in the morning? I am sometimes criticised. Some people say, Mr. Duncan, we have noticed that sometimes you don't have your breakfast because you talk about it. You mention that you don't have your breakfast in the morning, but you should have breakfast. Well, can I just say I sometimes have breakfast, but sometimes I don't have breakfast. Quite often because I'm in a hurry, because I have lots of things to do. So sometimes I will skip breakfast. Skip breakfast. So if you skip breakfast, it means you avoid having it, or you go past it. You don't bother. You miss breakfast. You skip breakfast. You don't do it. So yes, it is true. Quite often I will skip breakfast. Quite often I will skip my breakfast. You are right. Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Some people say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Some people think it isn't. Hello, Marcos. Hello also, Al Gamdi. Hello to you as well. Hello also, Luis. Luis Mendez is saying hello to Adelina. Maybe Adelina is a shy bird. Who knows? Talking of birds, a lot of people have asked about my knowledge of birds. Something that you are interested in, something that you know something about, is quite often something that you've looked at or read about or studied in some way. So some people become interested in a certain topic. For example, Mr. Steve is very interested in cars. You may have noticed that quite often Steve will talk about cars because he loves cars very much. So how do I know about birds? Well, I have lots of useful books. I also spend a lot of time sitting in the garden, listening to the birds. They don't seem very noisy today. The birds actually appear, or they sound quiet. They are making no noise. But here is a good book. This is one of the books that I love. And this is a huge, thick book. Look, you can see how thick that book is. So quite often, you can judge how much information is contained within a book by the thickness. So this is quite a big, thick book. And it is the Birds of Britain and Europe. So this particular book also has not only the birds that you see here in the UK, but also birds that you will find around Europe as well. And it is worth remembering that quite often birds that are here in the UK are not here all the time. Sometimes they will come here during the warm months. So when it is warm and pleasant, quite often, you will find that the birds will come to this country. So this is an interesting book, a very good book. It has lots of information. For example, it will show you all the different types of crows. So there you can see on that particular page, it is showing you all of the different types of crows. And there are many different crows. You might not realise just how many crows there are. Quite often, crows are birds that will eat other birds. Quite often, they will eat dead animals as well. There is a type of crow called a carrion crow, which will only eat dead animals. They will often feed off a dead animal. Very similar to vultures, I suppose. Vultures are also described as carrions. They are animals that feed off dead animals, other animals that have died. So that is a pretty good book. It is one of my favourite books. It is one of my reference books for looking at birds. And this was actually given to me. You might not realise it, but this was actually given to me as a gift from one of my friends about 3 years ago. So it's a lovely book. Very interesting. I have lots of books about birds in my house. Maybe one day I will show you some more as well. Maybe. Hello to Anna. Sometimes people wear glasses to hide their true feelings. I think so. I think you are right, yes. Sometimes people might wear dark glasses because they want to hide their emotions or maybe their identity. Although I don't think wearing sunglasses is a good way of hiding your identity, to be honest. Because if you wear sunglasses, you can still see the rest of someone's face. So even if you put sunglasses on, we can still see the rest of your face. So I don't think it's a good way of hiding your identity. But it is a very good way to hide your emotions, the way you are actually feeling. I think so. Hello to Reza. Hello, Reza. Good people. It is a very energetic day. There is a lot going on around here. Last night, once more, many of the people who live in this area and across the UK were showing their support of all of the care workers and all of those who are taking care of all of the public services, including working in shops and supermarkets, people who are working for the emergency services, doctors, nurses, medics, ambulance drivers, all of those people. Ivan says, the sound of Shakespeare is very light. I really love it. Thank you, Mr. Duncan. You are welcome. No problem. No problem. I am glad that you like it. I've just realised that the sun is now coming behind me. So if Suddenly I become too bright on the screen. I apologise. And also the other thing I've noticed is I can't see the live chat because the sun is shining directly at me. Can you see? So there is the reflection from my phone on my face. It is blinding me. I can't see what I'm doing. Let me just move this, or else I'm going to have a big problem. That's better. That's better. I can see now. Hello to Valentin. Oh, apparently one of the best breakfasts during the week is Sunday breakfast. Now, I know in some countries breakfast is quite a large meal. However, from my point of view, quite often I think breakfast is a very simple meal, light meal. However, across Europe, many people will eat quite a lot of food in the morning. They will have quite a big breakfast with bread, milk, cereal, many other things, and sometimes meat. So some people eat meat for breakfast in the morning. They will have a European or continental breakfast. So quite often it will have lots of meat, bread, cereal. There will be milk, things like that. And of course, tea. I know I said this the other day. I said the other day that I love to have a cup of tea in the morning. And I know a lot of people prefer to have coffee in the morning, but I don't know why. I cannot drink coffee in the morning. From my point of view, thank you, Mr. Pheasant. From my point of view, it is actually too strong. It is too strong to drink first thing in the morning. What content? Hello, Partridge. What content should we practice to improve our English? Well, there is no special content. I always say try to find as many things as possible. You can use exercise books or textbooks. You can buy a dictionary and you can look at the words in there. You can watch movies with captions. So in fact, there are many, many ways of getting references or to get information about English. So you can listen to people speaking like this. So this is the reason why I do my live streams, to give you a chance to listen to English being spoken. So I stand here for 2 hours in my garden and I talk to you about many different subjects, and then you have a chance to listen to English being spoken. It is spontaneous. It is live. It is completely live. Also, don't forget, you can have captions here now. All you have to do is press C on your keyboard. Just take your finger and press the button. And then you can have live captions right on your screen. The sun is moving around. The sun is starting to move. So when we talk about content, we are talking about anything. Content. Things you might find in a book. Things you might read in the newspaper. Things you might see when you are walking down the road. Maybe you see things written on billboards. You see? So there are many ways, many places, many ways of getting English in here. Many ways. You can watch my video lessons. You can watch movies with captions. So I always say try to get as much content or much information from many different places. The more you can get, the more you will experience. The more you will experience of this thing we call English. This book looks very interesting about the birds. It is interesting. I have many books written about birds, how to find birds, how to spot the birds. So when we talk about spotting, we are talking about recognizing. So maybe you will sit in your garden and you will watch the birds, and then you will try to spot certain birds. Oh, that is a robin. That is a blackbird. That is a chaffinch. That is a blue tit. You spot the birds. So bird spotting is a hobby that many people enjoy doing, especially at this time of year when all the birds are flying around, building their nests and raising their young. I love this time of year, I really do. Mr. Duncan, do you remember these changes have and always will decide how things must be? Autumn's fall and winter's chill will choose the fates of you and me. That was taken from my autumn lesson. So I made a lesson all about autumn. Unfortunately, it is not on my YouTube channel at the moment because of certain things, certain situations which I won't mention, but because of a certain problem, I had to remove my autumn lesson. But yes, you are right, that is one of the poems that I wrote myself, describing autumn. These changes have and always will decide how things must be. Autumn's fall and winter's chill will choose the fates of you and me. You are right. Hello, Noemi. Are you having breakfast so early because of Ramadan? That is a question for Flower Espoir. Yes, I know yesterday Ramadan started and people have to fast between sunrise and sunset. So you are not allowed to eat for many, many hours. I don't know how I would do that. I don't think I could ever go without food all day. I think I would find that very hard. Wow, I feed a crested bird and I love it so much. It is my friend. Oh, I see. Ivan. Ivan appears to have a regular bird visiting the garden. I think so. It is nice when you develop relationships with the wildlife. Sometimes you will see the same animals coming into your garden. You will recognize them. So maybe they have a particular appearance. Maybe there is something different about their appearance, and you know that is the same bird or that is the same animal coming into your garden every day. I think so. Hello, Reza. It seems like your territory has a lot of animal diversity. Thank you, Reza. You are right. There are many different animals living around this area because I'm in the countryside. Behind me, right behind me, in the forests behind me, there are all sorts of creatures, and many of them come out at night. So many of the animals that live around here, I never actually see. I never see, because they come out at night, when I'm asleep in bed. Hello, Florence. In that book, all the names are in English, and some of them are also in Latin. Thank you, Florence. You are right. When we talk about the animal kingdom, we are talking about all of the animals and the types of animals. So we are talking about species. So all of the types of animal. Thank you, Mr. Pheasant. The pheasant is very noisy today. So we are talking about all of the species of animal that exists. So all of them, all the different types, and many of them have Latin names because they were discovered when it was seen as appropriate to name them with Latin names because we are going back a long distance into the past. There was a time when Latin was spoken. There was a time, even here in the UK, where Latin was taught in school. Can you imagine that now? We don't teach Latin anymore. in school. Nowadays, we teach French, German, Chinese. So those are languages that are taught nowadays. So many people think that Latin is an old-fashioned, archaic, out-of-date language. A lot of people think that. Hello, Christina. There is no problem if you wear your sunglasses because of the sun. Well, fortunately, the sun is behind me. It is not in front of me. So I don't think I need my sunglasses today. I don't think I actually need them, to be honest. Hello to Anna Pika, Mr. Duncan. The chance of a bird on the cover was... Oh, I see. On the cover of the book, the bird was an Icelandic puffin. Yes, you are right. Well done. Well spotted. So the bird on the front of this particular book is a puffin. It's a lovely bird, a very unusual bird. It has the most wonderful beak, and it's a wonderful bird that feeds on fish. And they have the most amazing lives. They have the most wonderful life cycle. And they build these beautiful nests on the ground. And that particular bird is called a puffin. Puffin. I like that word. It's a very strange word, isn't it? A little bit later on, we will be looking at some strange English words. It is true that the English language has many weird, strange, unusual words. It is true. You are right. And you would be right to say so. Breakfast time for Mr. Steve is a very important time because he always takes a very long time to have his breakfast. That is one of the other things we are talking about today. In the morning, do you know what Steve has for breakfast? Well, he doesn't always have the same thing. Sometimes he has one thing, and then the next day or the next morning, he will have something else. For example, this is one of the things that Mr. Steve eats quite a lot. So this is something Mr. Steve enjoys eating in the morning. He likes to have a bowl of all bran. Thank you, Mr. Pheasant. I think the pheasant likes eating all bran as well. So I'm not advertising any products before anyone accuses me. So yes, bran is a very important part of your diet. It can help your stomach to digest the food. It can also help you to be regular with the toilet. So this is a very useful thing for your body. Bran. They often say that you should have a lot of bran every day. Normally you have a bowl of bran in the morning. So that's what Steve sometimes has. He likes something that is healthy. And now we have a contrast. Something that is the opposite. Oh dear. Here is something that I have for my breakfast. As you can imagine, it is probably something that is unhealthy, and you'd be right. There it is. So this is something I like to have in the morning for my breakfast. It is called Curiously Cinnamon. Curiously Cinnamon. And as you can probably guess, the flavour is cinnamon. It's not an easy thing to say, actually. Cinnamon. Cinnamon. So, this is a very sweet snack. And this is something I often have in the morning. It is a little crunchy breakfast cereal. Unfortunately, Mr. Steve thinks that this is unhealthy. So Steve will often say, Duncan, I can't believe that you keep eating that junk in the morning. I can't believe you keep eating that rubbish every morning. I don't think it's rubbish. I don't think this is rubbish. It's lovely. It's delicious. In fact, I'm going to try a little bit now. Ooh, yes, look. So there it is. They are little crunchy pieces of cereal, but they also have lots of sugar and also lots of cinnamon. They are flavoured with cinnamon, and I love the taste of cinnamon. I'm going to have one now. They are very nice. I like them a lot. Cinnamon. They're delicious. There is a woodpecker watching me. Can you hear the woodpecker? There is a woodpecker just in front of me in the tree. And I think it is waiting to come into the garden. It is waiting to come into the garden so it can have its breakfast or maybe its lunch. Apparently, Mika, thank you, Mika. Mika says having sugar in the morning is actually good for your brain. Well, I think so. It always seems to be good for my brain. Okay, I must stop eating. I will get lots of complaints. This is lovely. They are very, very nice. Thank you, Mr. Pheasant. Normally you will have this with milk. So you will put this in a little bowl and then you will add milk. Delicious. I will have some more of these later. Mr. Steve in the morning likes to have, what does Steve have in the morning? Sometimes he has his all bran. Also, he likes to have some organic porridge as well. So porridge is another thing that a lot of people recommend that you should eat. Maybe every day you should have some porridge. So Steve is very keen on his organic porridge. So that is another thing that Steve has every morning. Apparently this is also very good for your body, for your stomach, for your digestion. So you can digest or absorb food into your body much easier. So there it is, some organic porridge. I'm not a very big fan of porridge. I don't like porridge very much, to be honest. However, there is something that I do eat that is very similar to porridge, but it isn't porridge. This is something I used to eat when I was a child. So whenever I eat this particular thing, it always reminds me of when I was a child. Because my mother would always make some of this for my breakfast when I was a kid. And here it is. Beep, 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 beep. This is called ready brek. And it is a type of porridge. So it is porridge oats. So quite often we will call porridge oatmeal. So oatmeal is another way of describing porridge. Ready brek. And thank you, Mr. Pheasant, again. So this is something I used to eat when I was a child. My mother in the morning would prepare my ready brek and she would give it to me. And there would never be enough sugar in the ready brek. I always used to complain because I wanted more sugar. But my mother said I couldn't. My mother said I couldn't have more sugar because it's not good for you. So that is what I had when I was a child, and sometimes I have it now as well. So, not all of my diet is bad. This is something that is actually good for me, and it is something that I do eat as well for breakfast. So not everything I eat is unhealthy. I know a lot of people say, Mr. Duncan, you have such a bad diet. How do you keep looking so trim and slim? Well, the answer to that question is keeping active. Be active, have exercise, move around. I rarely sit down during the day. Normally I'm doing something. I'm moving around. I am very active. So that's the reason why. So sometimes I eat unhealthy things and sometimes I eat healthy things. So not everything I eat is bad for you. Oh, some very interesting comments. Asa says, we Southern Indians eat rice as the main dish for breakfast. Do you mean for breakfast? There is a type of porridge. And thank you, Mr. Pheasant. There is a type of porridge that I used to eat in China. I didn't like it, to be honest. But instead of oats, it was actually rice. So there is a type of porridge that you can eat in the morning. It is very thick, and sometimes it has egg, sometimes it has rice, sometimes it has all sorts of very strange things floating in the actual meal. However, I didn't like it. Adrian says, can you please tell Mr. Steve to eat the warm porridge with cinnamon and also banana? Steve, quite often, I can tell you this now, Steve sometimes has his porridge in the morning with strawberries, fresh strawberries. So Steve will buy some strawberries, he will cut them up, he will make his porridge, and then he will put the strawberries into the porridge and have a very delicious, nutritious meal. I've just realised the back of my neck is starting to burn. I can feel the sun burning into the back of my neck. Now the strange thing is, last week the sun was much lower in the sky. However, today the sun is much higher. As summer approaches, so as summer starts, as we approach the summer season here in the UK, the sun is now getting higher and higher in the sky. So that is the reason why I can feel the sunlight burning into the back of my neck. Oh, here is something else that I like eating in the morning. Here is something else I enjoy eating. That pheasant is very distracting. I also like to eat this in the morning as well. So this is something that I think you could describe this as healthy as well. So Steve likes to have his porridge. He likes to have his strawberries. He also has some nuts in the morning as well. Nuts are also very good for you. And this is something I often have. Another thing that I used to eat when I was a child as well. So my mother would sometimes make Weetabix, and she would put these in a little bowl, and then she would put some hot milk on the Weetabix. These days I normally have this cereal with cold milk. So quite often I will eat this with cold milk. However, there is something that I like to put on my Weetabix. Do you know what it is? I will show you. In the morning when I have my Weetabix, I will put some honey. I will put some honey on my Weetabix. So honey is a very good thing to eat. Instead of sugar, You can actually have something that is natural. You can have something that occurs naturally. So now I often have honey in the morning with my food. I will have my Weetabix and some honey. And of course, milk as well. So that is what I often eat in the morning. So as you can see, I don't always eat unhealthy food. A lot of people say, Mr. Duncan, you don't eat healthy food. I do. Of course I do. I like fruit. I am a very big fan of oranges. I like mangoes. I like strawberries. So yes, I do like eating fruit. So don't listen to Mr. Steve. Sometimes Mr. Steve tries to create trouble. He does. Oh, there is another one called Lucky Charms. Another type of breakfast cereal called Lucky Charms. Gemini 2 says that is also more chemical junk, but it is very cute, very tasty. Yes, Gemini, you are right. There are many sweet cereals that are aimed at children. So that's the reason why those things are very popular, because kids like sweet things. Kids like eating things that are fun and colourful. Lucky Charms. I know, I've never tried them, by the way. I've never eaten Lucky Charms. Never tried them. Elisa says, in Spain on Sundays we like to eat churros. Churros. I'm wondering what that is. I think it is a type of food. Churros. Is it a type of bread? Or am I wrong? Have I got that completely wrong? Serene Snow says oatmeal tea and yogurt. Oh, I see. Oatmeal, a cup of tea, and also some yogurt for me. When it is cold, and when it gets warmer, I have cold cereal with milk and yogurt. And also you can cook your oats with milk. That is what Mr. Steve does. So when Mr. Steve has his porridge, he will put the porridge and the milk together, and then he will slowly heat the porridge. Even though sometimes he forgets. He forgets about his porridge, and sometimes it gets burnt. Many a morning I have woken up to the smell of burning porridge, and I always know what has happened. I always know that Steve has become distracted by something, and his porridge is burning very slowly in the kitchen. Hello, Vitas. Thank you, Vitas, for your joke. Thank you, Matu. All industrial cereals are rubbish. Even Mr. Steve's All-Bran. Matthew. Hello, Matthew Chanel. Really? Yes, I suppose so. When you see all of the different types of cereal that you can buy, most of it is processed in some way. So even things that might appear very healthy might still be processed. They might still have colour or additives, preservatives. They are processed somehow. Yes, I think you're right. If you want to get something unhealthy, why not eat it in the morning or at lunch? I love eating unhealthy food all the time. However, during this strange lockdown period, I have tried my best not to eat so much rubbish. It is very hard. It is very hard to keep my self-control. However, I think I'm doing very well. I think I'm doing well, actually. I don't think I am eating as much rubbish as I thought I would. I have kept my control. I have managed to keep control of my desires for sweet, unhealthy food. Florence, oh, I love Weetabix with honey and milk, says Florence. Yes, me too. Very nice. I like a bit of honey on my cereal. I think honey is much better than processed sugar if I had a choice. So I suppose I should start having honey maybe in my tea as well. Processed sugar. A lot of people think that processed sugar is not good for you. You are right. Oh, Christina, in the morning I love to eat croissant. Very nice. With hot tea at breakfast. You might not believe this, but it's very hard to get hold of croissant in the UK. There are certain places that sell it or sell them, but they're never the same. They're never the same. But I remember when I was in Paris last year, I had some croissant for breakfast. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Did you like my pronunciation? Was that okay? Was my pronunciation all right? I hope so. Hello, Mr. Duncan. I am watching from Saudi Arabia. Hello to Shaker Adam. Hello to you as well. I hope you're having a good day. Sean Ferry, I always have green tea from time to time. I believe green tea is good for my health. Yes, there is something called antioxidants. So many types of tea, herbal tea, things that you drink can cleanse your body. A lot of people believe that herbal tea has the ability to cleanse your body. It has things called antioxidants. I'm so glad Mr. Steve isn't here. If Steve was here now, all he would do for the next 20 minutes is talk about antioxidants. Fortunately, he isn't. It is just me and the pheasant. That is all there is. Beatrice. Oh, thank you. I think the pheasant just heard me mention its name. Thank you, Mr. Pheasant. If you could just keep the noise down. If you could just keep the noise down, I would be very happy. The pheasant is being a pain today. It really is. My breakfast, says Beatrice, is rice biscuits with honey and nuts, sesame seeds, and also a very good tea. Something English. Oh, I see. Okay. Did you know? This is something I found out a couple of nights ago. I was watching a very interesting documentary all about tea. Very interesting. I didn't know that a lot of tea was taken from China secretly. And then it was taken to India, and that is where all of the tea plantations were created. So the tea originally existed in China, which is something I knew anyway. I knew that. But I didn't know that the tea was secretly smuggled to India. And that is where the birth of the tea industry started. Certain types of tea were originally grown in China, but then they were taken. They were taken away and taken to India. Interesting. So I didn't know that before, you see. I didn't know it, but now I do. Thank you for your eating and you will be healthy. Can you write that on your tea bag? Oh, yes. That is my business idea. I don't want anybody to steal my idea. Please don't steal my business idea. It is my idea. On the side of your tea bag, you can have a little, maybe story or maybe a poem, something to inspire you in the morning. That's my idea, though. My idea. Copyright, Mr. Duncan, 2020. Hello to Turkey. Busra Kart says, greetings from Turkey. Hello, Turkey. Nice to see you here today. I have been to your country twice. I have. I've been there twice and had a wonderful time. You don't know about churros, sir? Oh my God. Where have you been all this time? Churros. No, I haven't. Maybe it goes by another name here in this country. I'm a little bit... Oh, thank you. I'm a little bit embarrassed now. I'm slightly embarrassed by that. Churros. What is churros? I feel as if I should know what it is. I feel as if I should know. Mr. Duncan, if you smoke... Oh, I see. I'm not going to say what you're saying, but I think it might be something illegal, maybe. Mr. Duncan, if you smoke that thing in the morning, you will be very conscious. Thank you, Ivan. I have a feeling you might be suggesting something that's very illegal as well. We have to be very careful, you know. We have to be careful what we say. Hello to Pedro Belmont is here again. Pedro Belmont is joining us today. Hello, Pedro. Hello, Ivan. For your very naughty comment. Thank you, Ivan. Oh, yes, that's good. Zuzika says that is why the bumblebees love you, because you are always eating honey. You might be right there. Yes, I think so. Oh, yes, okay then. Churro is a strip of fried dough dusted with sugar, sometimes coated with chocolate. Now, I think I had something like that in Portugal last year. I think so. A churro. I think it's all coming back. The memories are coming back into my brain suddenly. Churro. Yeah, there was a type of thing that I ate last year when I was in Portugal, and it was delicious. It was like a pastry, and it had chocolate and other things, and it was gorgeous. Is that what you mean? Is that the same thing? Natalie, hello again. Happy to join you. I had some potato pancakes for breakfast. Can I just say that sounds absolutely delicious. Potato pancakes. Ooh. Even Mr. Pheasant is getting excited by that. Hello, Flower. I eat in the morning a slice of bread and some olive oil. Very good. A little bit of olive oil in the morning. I think so. Sokort Naji says, I can't eat anything at the moment because I am a Muslim and I'm fasting. A lot of people at the moment are holding back. They cannot eat food during daylight hours. I don't think I could do that, to be honest. I like my food too much. There are some strange words in the English language. It is true. The English language is full of very strange words. It's true. Would you like to see some strange English words right now? Okay. Okay, Mr. Duncan. All right, that sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a very good idea, that does, Mr. Duncan. Could you please show us some unusual words? Okay. Here we go. Strange words that exist. And these are real words. So I'm not making these words up. They are not fake words. They are all real words that exist beep, 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 in the English language. I think there was a blackbird behind me getting very scared. So here we go, some strange words that you might find in the English language. They are words that are used quite often. They are. So they are not rare words, they are words that are used in the English language. Here is... Everyone's talking about food now. Everyone is talking about food, and I am becoming quite distracted, to be honest. Yes, I think I want to eat a churros now. I really do. I like the sound of that. Tortilla. Oh, yes, tortilla. Oh, I like tortilla. Tortilla. I like that very much. Yes. Oh, can I just say you are making me feel very hungry at the moment with all of this talk of food. Have you tried chocolatine or pain au chocolat as well, Mr. Duncan? I think it's very similar. It is a very similar thing. I also had something last year in Paris as well, when I went there with Steve, because his company last year gave us free holidays. Can you believe it? We actually had a free holiday because Mr. Steve had done so well in his job. Here is the first word that I'm going to show you. There is a blackbird standing behind me, watching me. Hello. Hello, Mr. Blackbird. Hello. Hello, Mr. Blackbird. Petulant. Oh, it is a real word, by the way. Petulant. A person who is petulant. Hello. There's a blackbird just behind me. There is a blackbird standing behind me. He keeps watching me. He's wondering what is going on. There he is. Can you see the blackbird? The blackbird is now going by. There is a blackbird behind me. Hello, Mr. Blackbird. Are you having a nice time? What are you doing? Are you looking for a nice juicy worm? I think so. Yes. Oh, he's going now. So there is a blackbird just behind me. Can you see it? Just there. And what he's doing, he's looking for worms under the soil. Mr. Blackbird. There. I hope you can see the blackbird, because he's there now, eating. Petulant. I love this word. A person who is petulant is someone who is irritable. A person who gets into a bad mood. A person who cries and shouts when they get upset. They are ill-tempered. An ill-tempered person is described as petulant. I love that word. It is one of those words, when you say it, it really does sound like what it describes. Petulant. We will often describe a child as petulant. So you might be a petulant child. A petulant child is one that is always screaming and shouting and getting upset, especially when they can't have what they want. Maybe a child wants a new toy. However, you say, no, I'm sorry, you can't have your new toy. You will have it next week. But the child says, I want it now. Give me that toy now. I want it. That child is petulant, ill-tempered. Some people might say spoilt. Spoilt. Why do you always say the bird is sitting? I don't know why. It just seems like a nice thing to say. Of course, the bird is standing. But when I say a bird is resting, quite often I will say it is sitting. Petulant. A child that is spoilt. A child that is ill-tempered. Or anyone, any person that is ill-tempered is petulant. I love that word. I will pronounce it again. Petulant. It is an English word that we do use quite often, especially when we are talking about someone's behaviour. The blackbird has come back. Hello. I love nature so much. I really do get very excited when I see nature around me. I do. Here's another word, and this is one that some people describe me as. Some people say, Mr. Duncan, you are very tall. You are very slim. You might describe me as gangly. Gangly. A person who is very tall and very slim. They are gangly. So you might describe my physique as gangly. So yes, I do have a very gangly body. I'm very tall, slim. I don't have much weight on my body. I'm quite slim, tall, and gangly. It's a great word, gangly. Yes. The child says, I want this toy badly. Yes, they want it. They want something, but they can't have it. So they will get into a tantrum. They will have a tantrum. I want it now. But you can't. Stop being so petulant. Then we have gangly. Gangly is a great word. It means to be tall. If you are very tall and slim, like me, a lot of people describe me as gangly. Mr. Duncan, you are so gangly. It is true. Ong trum, some insects come out of the ground and Mr. Blackbird is catching them. Yes, that's what the blackbird is doing, Ong trum, you are right. Quite often the blackbird will use its beak to actually dig into the soil. So quite often they will use their beak to actually move the soil. They will push their beak into the soil and then move it around. So what they are trying to do, they are trying to disturb the soil. So if there are any insects under the soil, they will come to the surface. I think blackbirds are actually quite clever birds, to be honest. They are. Someone who is very tall is gangly. T.S. says, especially when you are in China. I have seen your Chinese videos. You looked very gangly. It is true. When I was living in China, a lot of people used to comment on my height. They would always say, Mr. Duncan, you are so tall. You are taller than everyone. So it is true, yes, a lot of people used to comment on my height when I was in China. Here's an interesting one. This is all about the way we live nowadays. When you go into your kitchen, what is the first thing you see in your kitchen? When you walk into your kitchen, or maybe when you walk into your bedroom, or maybe when you walk into your living room, but quite often we are talking about the kitchen. So when you walk into the kitchen, what is the first thing you normally see when you walk into your kitchen? What is the first thing you see when you go into your kitchen? What is it? Well, I would say the first thing you see are all of the mod cons. Mod cons. This is a word that we use in English, British English. And we will say, my kitchen has all of the mod cons. Mod cons. This means modern conveniences, the things that make my life easier, the things that make my everyday life much easier, things that I can use to help me perform certain tasks. We talk about mod cons. So when you go into your kitchen, there are often lots of things that can help you do your work much easier. Your refrigerator is one of the mod cons in your kitchen. Maybe you have a dishwasher, something that will automatically wash your dishes. One of the mod cons in your kitchen. And this means modern convenience. Modern convenience. We normally use this in British English. British English, it is often used to describe all of the things in your house, or maybe the things in your kitchen that do some of the chores or some of the things for you, or maybe quicker. The mod cons. We are talking about strange words today. We are talking about very unusual words. Here is another one. This is an action. So this particular one is used as a verb. And the word is snaffle. Mr. Duncan, that is not a real word. I'm sure that is not a real word. Yes, it is. This is a real word, everyone. Snaffle. If you snaffle, it means you eat. Eat. Quickly or hungrily. You will snaffle. Snaffle. Eat. You snaffle. You have a meal. You eat. Quite often you will eat the food very quickly. Or maybe you will have the food in a hurry. You snaffle. You eat. You consume some food. Snaffle. I love that word. So it is. Lena says, bye Mr. Duncan and everyone. Now I have to make a special card. Very similar to an ID card, which will allow me to go out during the lockdown period. Then I will go to walk with my dog. Thank you, Lena. I hope you have a good day, the rest of your day, and also your weekend as well. I hope you will have a good weekend. I will be back with you tomorrow, don't forget. Snaffle. To eat very quickly. That is another strange English word. So that's what we're doing at the moment. We are looking at some unusual English words. English words that you may or may not have heard of before. Maybe, maybe not. Talking of eat, the blackbird is very interested in what is going on. Hello. Hello. Oh, he's come down. That is amazing. There is a lovely little blackbird that keeps coming down. It's looking for some food. Talking of food, chomp. If you chomp, it means you bite into something. You eat and bite. You chomp. So maybe you chomp an apple. Maybe you chomp some bread. Chomp. To bite into something. You eat something, you bite into something. You are eating and biting at the same time. Chomp. Quite often you will use your teeth to chomp the food. Chomp. It's a great word. It is a real word. Before anyone says, Mr. Duncan, that is not a real word. It is. This is a real word, and it is often used in English. And it means to bite into some food. You chomp. You bite or chew. Very nice. Very nice indeed. I love the fact. I love the fact that the blackbird keeps watching me. It is very interested in what I'm doing. Yes. For example, he chomps quickly. Chomp. Bite into something. You eat something. You use your teeth to bite into something. Chomp. Chomp. Here's another one. Oh, this is interesting. We have two words here. Two. Fixate and fixation. Fixate and fixation. One of them is a verb. The first one is a verb, and the second one is a noun. I had to think then. Fixate and fixation. So to fixate on something, if you fixate, it means you occupy yourself with one particular thing. You occupy your mind. You are concentrating very hard on one thing. You are thinking about it. Maybe you can't stop thinking about it. You fixate on something. Something you can't stop thinking about. Something that often will occupy your mind. You can't stop looking at it. You fixate. Fixate. You fixate on the beautiful girl that lives near your house. You fixate. You can't stop thinking about her. Something that will occupy your mind. It is in there. You can't stop thinking about it. You fixate. And this is also related to the word. If you have an obsession, with something or someone, you are crazy about it. You have a fixation. So there is the word fixation. Fixation is the word. You have a fixation. You have an obsession. You can't stop thinking about something. The thing is always in your mind. It is something you are obsessed with. You have an obsession. You have a fixation. Fixation. Yes. To focus on something, fixate. To have an obsession, we can describe it as a fixation. Wow. Maybe you have a fixation for English. Like me. I would describe myself as having a very big fixation with the English language. I think it is safe to say that I definitely have a fixation for the English language. I think so, definitely. In fact, I have no doubt about it. Here's another one. We are looking at strange English words today on this Friday. Friday Live. For those who are wondering, Mr. Duncan, what is this? My name's Duncan and I'm broadcasting live at the moment, as you can see, live from England on Friday, the 24th of April. We only have another week before April comes to an end. Another week of April. And then suddenly we are into May. What will happen next month? Who knows? I don't think anyone knows, really, when you think about it. I don't think anyone knows what is going to happen next. Here is another word. Oh, I like this one. Now, this can be used as a noun and a verb. You can use this word as both a noun and verb as well. Jemmy. Jemmy. It is a great word. Jemmy. Hamid Reza, we all have some obsessions, but we don't like to accept that we are involved. Yes, a lot of people are slightly embarrassed when they have an obsession for something. However, one of the things you will notice, especially with successful people who are successful, they might have a very profitable business, maybe a business that is doing very well. They are successful in something in their life. Quite often, that is because they have an obsession. They have a fixation for one particular thing. So a person who becomes successful, quite often they will have an obsession for one thing, or maybe they have an obsession for their idea or the thing that they want to do, the thing they want to create. It becomes an obsession. So I would say, from my own experience, I would say sometimes obsession is part of being successful. Jemmy. The word jemmy is interesting. It can mean to force open a window. So maybe if someone is breaking into your house, there is a burglar, and they are trying to get into your house, they will jemmy the window. That means they are using a tool to open your window. They are trying to prise your window open. And we call it jemmy as a verb. So if you jemmy something, it means you force it open. You are forcing something open. Quite often a window. If you are breaking into someone's house, please don't do that, by the way, because it's not very nice. If you are breaking into someone's house, you will often jemmy the house. You will jemmy the window. You will force the window open. This can also be used as a noun to describe the tool that you use to open the window. So this word can be a verb or noun. You jemmy the window with a jemmy. Interesting. So that might be a new word. Perhaps you've never seen this word before. Maybe you've never seen it ever in your whole life. Well, guess what? You have now. You have now. To force something open. Jemmy. Great. Interesting word. We are looking at some interesting words today. Some unusual words. Yes, you might jemmy the safe to open it. Quite often we will use it for parts of the house. Maybe you will jemmy a window or jemmy the door. You will force it open. Here is another word, a very strange word that we use in English. Scruples. Scruples. Oh, now this is an interesting word. A person who has scruples. Very interesting word. Scruples. Maybe you've never heard of this word before. Maybe you have. Perhaps you are looking it up at the moment on your electric dictionary. Yeah. Scruples. If you have scruples, quite often we are talking about types of behaviour. Maybe you have scruples that allow you to do things in the right way. You always treat people well or equally. So it is your character we are talking about. We have a person who has scruples. They have very strict ways of behaving, or maybe their attitude towards other people is equal and fair. They have scruples. Quite often it describes a person's way of behaving or treating other people. Their morals, you might say, as well. So there is a word, scruples. A person who is fair, understanding, or we can use this to describe a way in which people think or treat others, their ways of dealing with other people. Scruples, your morals. Hello to Anna. Hello also Vanessa. Hello Vanessa. Vanessa Pineda. Vanessa. I once kissed a girl called Vanessa many years ago. Why did I mention that? I don't know. I don't know why I mentioned that. Scruples. You have good, fair behaviour. Of course, we can say that a person has no scruples. So maybe a person who is mean and unfair, maybe they treat people badly. We can say that they have no scruples. They have an unkind or cold character. He has no scruples. Sometimes in business, you might say that a person has no scruples. Sometimes being successful in business means you have to be mean, or you have to be unfair or cruel. So sometimes in business, you might say that a person, to have their success, to get their own way, to be the best, sometimes you cannot have scruples. Sometimes you have to be a little bit mean. I'm not promoting that, by the way. I'm not saying that that's what you must do. However, some people who have success quite often are mean. They have very few scruples. Here's a good one. Do you like this word? Look at this word. Oh my good, Mr. Duncan. Mr. Duncan, what is that? What is that word? Mr. Duncan. What is that? We don't even know what that word is. We can't even say that word. Here is the word. We only have two words left. This one. Thingamabob. Thingamabob. The word is thingamabob. When we say thingamabob, it means we are trying to think of the name of something. However, we can't remember what the name is. Thingamabob. Maybe there is a certain type of tool. However, you don't know the name of the tool, but you want it. You need it. So you might say, could you please pass me that thingamabob? Thingamabob. Something that you don't know the name of. So instead, you say thingamabob. Can you please pass me the thingamabob? I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's called. So instead, I will say thingamabob. And that is the word. Thingamabob. It is a real word. It is not made up. We often use this in British English. Something that we are trying to name, but we don't know the name of it. So instead, we just say thingamabob. Thingamabob. There are other ways of using this as well. You can also say this word or use it as thingamajig. You can say thingamajig. Can you please pass me the thingamajig? Something that you can't name because you don't know what it's called. So instead, you will say thingamajig, thingamabob. You know, that thing. That thingamabob. I don't know what it's called. I don't know the name of it. So instead, I will say thingamabob. Thingamabob. I don't know what it's called. we have two more. Two more words, and then I'm going in 15 minutes. We have 15 minutes, and then I'm going. If you don't know what something is called, You can also say, whatchamacallit. It's true. This is a real word. You can look it up later. Whatchamacallit. So something that you don't know the name of. You are trying to describe it, but you can't name it. So instead, you will say, whatchamacallit. Whatchamacallit. So we can use this if we are trying to name a person or an object. So maybe if we are trying to remember the man who lives next door. I can't remember the name of the man that lives next door. You know, whatchamacallit. Whatchamacallit. So we often use this when we can't remember the name of a person or an object. So this is used instead because we don't know what it's called. Whatchamacallit. It is a real word, by the way. It isn't made up. Check it out. It is real. And quite often we will use this in British English. A whatchamacallit. I don't know what it's called, so instead I will call it a whatchamacallit. Can you also say gizmo? Yes, if you are talking about a device, something you use, maybe a type of tool, you can say gizmo. Gizmo. So you can use the word gizmo to describe some type of tool or something you use, but you don't know the name of it. You just say, yes, I've just bought myself a new gizmo for my computer. Something that is useful, but you don't know what it's called. You can also say, whatchamacallit. I don't know what it's called. Whatchamacallit. What's the difference? Fixate is the verb. Fixation is the noun. You have a fixation. You fixate on something. We have one more word. Oh, our last strange English word. I must say I'm having a lovely day here in the garden. I can't believe how nice the weather has stayed during these past few days. It's amazing. I will be with you tomorrow, by the way. Don't forget, it is Saturday tomorrow. However, I will be with you again tomorrow. Definitely. Here is another word. This is our final strange word for today. The last strange word on today's live stream. Piffle. 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 Something is piffle. If you were watching a certain speech last night, maybe you heard some piffle being spoken or said. Piffle. When we talk about piffle, we are talking about something that is nonsense. Something that is nonsensical. It is nonsense. It makes no sense. It sounds like rubbish. We can say that it is piffle. Piffle. Don't listen to what he says. He's just talking piffle. It's all piffle. Nonsense. Rubbish. The things he is saying are nonsense. They are just things that are piffle. What a load of piffle. So there we had some more strange English words. There are many strange English words in the English language, as you know. English can be a very confusing, sometimes bewildering, sometimes vexing subject and language. I will be going in a moment. I will be going in the house to have a cup of tea. Mr. Duncan, I love to have the class in your garden. It is so relaxing. Thank you, Anna. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. I will be with you for a few more minutes. 9 minutes. The clock is ticking. It sure is. Hi, Mr. Pheasant. Hello. Mr. Pheasant has been a little bit annoying today. What was that? Hello. It's Mr. Robin. Mr. Robin has now come to say hello. Hello, Mr. Robin. How are you today? We've got blackbirds, partridges, pheasants, crows. I am surrounded by birds at the moment. Lots of birds. Saturino says the politicians say a lot of piffle. A lot of the things that people are saying, especially at the moment during this strange period of time, you might say that a lot of what people are saying is piffle, nonsense. It makes no sense. It has no logical meaning. A lot of interesting new words, Mr. Duncan. Thank you. Thank you, Beatrice. I hope you've enjoyed this today. Tonight, I am going to watch the new Star Wars movie. So tonight, I'm going to finally get round to watching the new Star Wars movie on Amazon. And I'm going to rent it. I'm not going to buy it, but I will watch it tonight just to see what it's like. And then tomorrow night, I have 2 films that I'm going to watch. Tomorrow night and also Sunday night. Would you like to see them? Would you like to see the movies that I am watching this weekend? Okay. Welcome to Mr. Duncan's Movie Time. This week we are talking about what I will be watching this weekend. Here is one of the movies I will be watching this weekend. It is a movie that I've seen many times, but I'm going to watch it again. Napoleon Dynamite, one of my all-time favourite films. I love this movie. I don't know why, but I always think of myself. I always think that Napoleon Dynamite is a little bit like me. Very awkward, slightly strange and eccentric. So I do like this movie very much. I always find that this movie makes me feel inspired. I don't know why, but I love this movie very much. If you haven't seen it, I'm watching this tomorrow night. Napoleon Dynamite. I'm watching tomorrow night. So this particular film was made way back in 2004. So it is an old movie. It isn't a modern movie. It is quite old, but I do like this. One of my favourite movies, and I will be watching it tomorrow because it always makes me laugh and smile. And let's face it, during these strange times, we really do need something to smile about. I think so. We really do. Here's another movie. I would imagine that you've never, ever watched this movie. So the next movie I'm going to show you, I would imagine that you've never, ever seen this movie. And here it is. Now, as you know, in the past, I've always been interested in broadcasting, radio. I've always wanted to be on the radio and maybe on the television. Perhaps not. Perhaps not. However, here is a movie that I love. It is a very old movie, going back to the 1980s, and it is called UHF. Have you ever heard of this movie? I wonder. It was made in 1989, and it stars Weird Al Yankovic, and also another very funny person, Michael Richards, who you might know from Seinfeld. So this is a movie all about someone who takes over a TV station. In the USA, one of the things I like about the USA is that they have lots of local television stations. So the television stations quite often only have a few people working for them, and quite often they have local news reports. So everything is very local. I quite like that. So this movie is about someone who starts to, or they take over and start running a TV station. But they create some very unusual TV shows. I love this movie. It is very funny, very weird, but I don't know why. Whenever I see this movie, it always cheers me up. It is slightly unusual. The humour is very unusual. However, it is one of my favourite movies called UHF, all about a local TV station and some of the crazy things that go on there. That's it. I'm almost finished. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Saturino. This evening I'm going to see one of my favourite movies, Papillion. Did you see it? I have heard of it. Yes, Papillion. Very nice. I hope you enjoy it. Al Yankovic. Yes. He is the person who used to do his own versions of famous songs. For example, he did a very famous version of Michael Jackson's Bad. But instead, he called it Fat. So yes. And there was another one called Eat It. Eat It. So instead of Beat It, he called it Eat It. Very funny. Mr. Duncan, is there any difference between saying you are kidding or you are joking? They mean the same thing. You are joking. You are kidding. They mean the same thing. They mean the same thing. They have the same meaning. Plotina Phil says, hello, I am late, but not too late. Well, you are late, but at least I'm still here. So at least my image is still on the screen, and at least I have a chance to say hello to Plotina Phil. Thank you very much. Thank you, Noemi. Thank you, Unicarina. Don't forget, I am back tomorrow. I will be back with you tomorrow, 2 p.m. UK time. 2 p.m. UK time. That is how you remember. See you tomorrow. I hope you have a good day. I'm going into the house. I will have a cup of tea. Mr. Steve is busy working in the office, so I will make a cup of tea for Mr. Steve as well. Thank you very much. Giselda, I really enjoyed listening to you today. Nice new words. Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Thank you as well. This video will be available later. You can watch this as many times as you want. There are some strange sounds at the moment. Very strange sounds. Some strange bird sounds. I don't know what that was. Some very strange bird sounds around me. Thank you for your company. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget, can I also say once again, big thank you. Can I say once again a very big thank you to Corrine and also Dirk for your lovely donations on my PayPal. Can I say a big thank you once again? I really do appreciate your help and your assistance. And I will be back with you tomorrow. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of the English language, saying thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed today's live stream during these strange, strange times. And of course, thank you, Anna. Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you, Valentine. Bye, Mr. Duncan. Have a nice cup of tea. I would like to be with you and Mr. Steve and listen to you talking with your fantastic accent. Thank you, Valentine. Very kind of you to say. Thank you, Corrie. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you, Mr. Alexei. Thank you very much. Maybe the bird is a pterodactyl. Don't say that. Don't say that. It might carry me away. You might never see me again. Thank you very much. Thank you, Yasia. See you tomorrow. I am back tomorrow. Usual time, 2 p.m. UK time. Tomorrow is Saturday. The weekend is almost here. This is Mr. Duncan for the final time today, saying thanks for watching. See you tomorrow, 2 p.m. UK time. And of course, you know what's coming next. You know what is coming next. Before I even say it, you know what is coming next. Ta-ta for now.